Well folks, welcome to the latest video where we're going to take a look at this drill unit, and it is pretty seized up, I have to say. So the challenge for this video is to try and get it to work again. So it is a very old-fashioned drill. It has some really nice features. These are hardwood, which you don't get on modern drills, and there's a back piece of the handle there that actually comes away and is full of old drill bits. First thing we're going to do is stick some WD-40 on it. Right, so we need to wait a bit and we'll see how that does. Yeah, you can see there's kind of drill bits from days gone by. Certainly don't look like today's drill bits, do they? This was probably designed as a wood drill, but you can probably use any drill bits with it, I would think. Okay, so guess what? I put these in the vise and they came off. So there you go, just goes to show you, don't always need heat. And that one came off as well, so that's two bits off. So that little piece there should just come off, and I think with a bit of a tap with a hammer that'll probably come off too. In fact, I just pulled it off. So there's a bit of boiling water for you. Okay, so what happens with the boiling water is the oils on the old machinery, the volatile oils evaporate off and they leave like a gummy, gooey residue, which eventually hardens and just locks everything up solid. So when you put the boiling water on it, it's a little bit like softening gum, and it softens it up and allows you to move things. And it's a little less intrusive than a blowtorch. So using a plumber's wrench, I've then been able to free up the truck. So now we can take the truck apart and renovate that, and then we've got to work out how to do the rest of it. Okay, so we give the top a little tap with a hammer. The chuck piece in the middle now is actually quite loose. Anyway, it can be worked loose enough to get it to work again, and you can see the end of it there. When you screw this down, the drill pushes against the end of that and tightens up the chuck. That's how it works. With the application of a blowtorch, we have managed to remove the pin from here and remove the pin from here, and so far anyway we haven't cracked the cast iron. So I avoided douching this in cold water because that does crack the cast iron. So so this piece here, which is supposed to rotate and is actually locked solid at the moment, that looks like a rivet on the end of there, but it isn't. It's actually a casing. These are quite nice mouldings, these. But if you just see there the end of a rivet, and on the other side too, you can just see if you turn it over, there's also a rivet end. If we de-rivet the rivet, knock the pin out, I think that should be able to come out, although it is stuck, so it's going to take a bit of persuasion. So I applied a bit of heat to the end there, and it's still not moving. Okay, so we put this in a vise and heated it, quite high heat. We've damaged the threads a little bit, unfortunately. I actually put the grips around this and we managed to get it loose. It does spin all the way around now. So what I'm going to try to do now is take the rivet out and see if we can get the shaft out. I'm going to clean up these threads. Essentially we've got this piece here, which has now been cleaned up, and the piece that fell on the floor so the piece that fell on the floor, which is this piece here, this actually goes into here like that, and it's pretty much supposed to be an interference fit, so I might have to heat this up a little bit to get it in. So that piece there fits fairly closely in there, and there's not a lot of wear on it, so this is still a pretty good old drill. It's not worn out or anything like that. Okay, so this piece here, we took the rivet out and we couldn't get this to move at all, and the difficulty is that these cast iron pieces, they can be pretty fragile on a very old item like this, so we didn't want to risk snapping it, and we had managed to free it up and it works anyway. It rotates fully, so it's nice been oiled and everything. So we put the rivet back in and we just left it as it is because it's working perfectly anyway, so why bother. These holes, which we originally thought had pins in, they actually don't have pins in, they're oiling points. So now we've got to deal with this. So this little handle here is supposed to rotate. At the moment it's stuck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to machine off the back of the rivet there and get it off. And then I may just shorten it slightly by 0.5 millimetre, just enough to get enough rivet so that we can rivet it back on again after we've freed it up. Okay, so to get it that last little bit, we may have to just heat this a little, and then it'll be nice and tight in there, ready for reassembly. So you can see we've ground the back off to get the rivet out. Okay, so knocking the pin out, you can kind of see why it wasn't turning. We've countersunk a little bit here so that the pin, when it goes through, actually protrudes slightly. So that allows us to re-rivet this after we cut it off. Okay, so what we can see here is because of all the rust eating away at this tube, this pin, it's basically very loose. If we put it inside the wooden piece, it's very, very loose. So we'll put a brass tube in there as kind of a bush, and then basically we're going to leave the brass tube in like so. It's a very tight fit on the wooden handle, so the steel will more or less rotate against. Okay, so with respects to this, once we cleaned the rust off it, we found that this was actually too slack, so I had to put a washer in there just to back it out a little bit. So on the back of it, just there you can see that we riveted it back over again, and there was enough metal to do that after we countersunk it a little bit. So that is now on, and it turns just nicely. There's a little bit of grease inside it as well, and the spindle just goes back on. And you can see that's turning the shaft just very nicely, and it's very close. You know, there's not a lot of play in it. It's just very good considering the state this was in when we got it. So we have this item here. Now I'm just going to check this for a minute, because if you turn it over, you can see there's a bit of wear on that. I don't know whether that's supposed to be like that or not. Okay, so what we can see there is it is a nice close fit, and there is a chit underneath that which just makes it fit very closely so that this can spin. So that is the only thing that really holds that on. And then we have this piece here which has got all the rust off it. So now for the first time our seized drill can turn perfectly, and there isn't an awful lot of wear in this, so this is still a good item despite the condition it was in when we got it. So now we're going to put the chuck on. Now if you look at the chuck, that can take a very fine drill bit. The drill's a bit heavy for fine drill bits, but it could if you wanted to. Now that hole you see in the side of the chuck there, that is for tightening the chuck with. That's what it's for. It's not for putting oil in it. So you can see as you tighten it down, the chuck tightens up, and it does have signs of use. But you know what? This is probably, if you look at it, it's got chrome on it. So that's a manufacturing process which was common around the 50s. They did do it in the 30s, but it was mainly the sort of 50s, and so I think this is probably like a 1950s piece. So some of these little drill bits that were in the handle, they do fit, so you could use those to tighten the drill bit chuck with. So here's just a quick comparison. What the drill looks like now compared to what it looked like before, quite a lot different. Right, so there we are folks, that's our fully finished drill. Gone from completely seized up and useless to now fully working and with pretty reasonable bearings too. We've even got the handle rotating, and if you look at the back of it, it's got a wonderful handle on it made of hardwood which unscrews and you can put drill bits and stuff in the back. Absolutely amazing. Anyway folks, that brings us to the end of the little video. Thanks so much for watching folks, bye.